Flat lay photos are one of the must-have shots during your wedding days. However, they can be their own art, making a lot of photographers just not try to do them. They can actually be pretty hard. Let's go over some tips to help you start building better flat lay and getting amazing flat lay photos. Before you can start having amazing flat lay photos, you first have to have the correct tools. And the one that I started using in my career that has changed everything is a flat lay mat. A flat lay mat gives you a dedicated space to build your flat lay on that's gonna look nice regardless of your venue. When I first started, I used to do what I called the scavenger method of building my flat lays, which is just finding a nice space either on the floor or a table to build my flat lay. However, there were a bunch of problems with that. First off, sometimes there's just not a nice space to build my flat lay. The ground looks bad or the tablecloths are ugly. It just doesn't help having a space that's absolutely ugly and then trying to build a flat lay on it. The second reason the scavenger method didn't work is I couldn't always move my flat lay area closer to a window for nice light. Now with a flat lay mat, I can set up wherever I want to and get closer to the nice light. However, with the scavenger method, I'm just trying to find a nice space, and sometimes it's like off in a dark corner somewhere, and it's the absolute worst. So while being able to pull off the scavenger method is super helpful, and I still use it myself, having a flat lay mat is the way to go. The flat lay mats I've been personally using myself are from Chasing Stone. I'm not sponsored by them, and I actually bought all my flat lay mats full price by myself. I absolutely love these mats, and you've seen me use them in all of my full wedding day videos. They're hand painted mats and they come in a variety of colors and they just look really good. And generally what I'll do is pick a color that's kind of neutral or goes along with my couple's invitation. I'll leave a link for them down in the description below if you want to check them out. The flat lay mats are a bit pricey, but trust me, look at the difference from these flat lay photos. It makes a huge difference having a nice clean backdrop rather than trying to find whatever you can and it being extremely stressful. Generally, whenever I go to my weddings, I'll bring about 3 of these with me, a darker color one, a mid-tone color one like a gray or a blue, and then a white one. This way I have some options for a nice flat lay. Next up is something that a lot of people don't talk enough of, which are risers. Risers are perfect for your flat lay photos, and they're gonna create depth in the flat lay. Without risers, everything just sits totally flat on the floor, and everything's all up on each other, and it's not giving your flat lay enough space for any of the extra accessories. And I'm guilty of doing that myself. When I started out, I didn't use risers, so I was just having my flat lay on the floor, and while they do look great, adding risers makes a huge difference. Now, if you absolutely have to, which I've done a lot, I use my own wallet as a riser. I have one of those nice thin wallets, and it's just enough for a riser to raise up my invitations and then have some of the flowers either go under it or have some ribbon go under it or something of that sort. If you're looking for some risers for yourself, I've been using some from Sourced Co. This is not sponsored at all. I got them a couple of years ago at a workshop, I believe. But what's nice is that they're clear acrylic. This way, no matter what angle you're shooting at, you're not gonna see them sitting under your details. So again, the wallet method is nice, but having some nice transparent acrylic risers is the way to go. And when you're setting up these risers, you don't wanna use too many. Generally, you wanna put the largest one under the actual invitation in the center, and then maybe use 1 or 2 somewhere else at a little bit of a lower level to kind of bring out some height and everything. And the last tool you're going to want to use with your flat lays are all the additional accessories. Now, a lot of these are going to come depending on your couple. Some couples have no accessories at all, where others will bring a bunch with them, but I love a nice full flat lay. Your accessories are going to include things like ribbon, stamps, extra flowers, or anything else like ring boxes, plates. I've seen all kinds of different setups. And generally, you're going to get the best setups at a workshop. It's a little bit harder at the wedding, but I have had couples actually bring a whole bunch of accessories for me. Now, if you don't have a lot of accessories, generally what I'll do is ask the planner or the florist if they have any additional flowers. And when we say additional flowers, even if they're like setting up flowers and like cutting some off, I just need the edge trimmings. That's going to be enough for my flat lay photo. We're not going to be able to add a whole bunch of flowers anyway, so having just edge trimmings to be able to put in the flat lay goes a long way. So remember to always ask your florist if they have any extras. Now, something I've talked about in one of my recent full wedding day videos is I don't like including the actual bouquet in the flat lay. Mainly because of the perspective of looking straight down, it doesn't really work with the bouquet, and the bouquet is too large, so the depth of field on it is like weird. I don't like using it. However, if there are extra flowers, you can put them in, and now they're on the same plane of field as everything else, and it just makes so much more sense. But out of all these accessories, the ones that I would say are the most important are going to be a ring box, which you can buy like colored ring boxes that look good. Ribbon is always nice. Usually my couples will bring some, but I did get some myself. And also additional flowers, which again you can get from the florist at your wedding. Once you have all these tools under your belt, this is when you start building your flat lay. Now, the way I like to build my flat lays is pretty typical every time, but how it's going to be set up is your invitations are going to be your centerpiece. This is your center weight. It's going to help you weigh out all the rest of the accessories for your flat lay. So always start with your invitation in the center. And again, with your invitation in the center, if you have your risers, raise that up so that some of the parts of the flat lay can go under the center. After that, you're going to want to try and place the shoes. The shoes usually take up a whole bunch of space, but what I'll do is have those kind of outline the outside of the flat lay. If I'm not having them on the outside, I'll pick a left or right side, but this all depends on the other accessories and the weight they're adding to the scene. Basically, I'm trying to build out kind of a rectangle of all my accessories, and that's what I keep referring to as weight. Which side is it weighing or leaning over to? After my shoes, that's when I start putting everything like rings and jewelry, and I'll start trying to figure out places that I can actually put the flowers and any other plants. By following a specific format, it makes it so much easier for me to build the flat lays quicker. Because that's a question I get all the time is like, when do you have time to do all this? First off, I do show up to my weddings a bit early, and I've had a meeting with my couple before the wedding, letting them know to get their details together and have them ready for me. So I show up and someone basically hands me all the details, and I can go ahead and then take those photos. But also because I'm following a format, this way I'm able to build it very quickly. I'm not trying to like recreate something new every single time. I'm going to follow this exact format and then build it creatively based on all the parts that I have. So they're not all going to look the same, but the approach is the same across the board. After I've built my flat lay, then it's time to start taking photos. Generally, when I go to shoot my flat lays, I like to start out wide, pretty much with like a 35. Make sure that you're stopping down when you're taking your first couple shots, maybe to f2, 2.8-ish. I first start out with my wider shot, get all the details in there, and then after that I switch to an actual 50. And then on my 50 mil, I go through and take horizontals and verticals of every single piece. So literally like get a zoomed in shot of each single thing on your board. Then after that, I actually don't use a macro lens. I have a lens extension, and I'll use that to create my macros. So with those, I'll go back and do the rings closer up, maybe some of these stamps, and anything else like that. So that's the process. Wide first, 35, then 50, everything close, horizontal and vertical, macro for rings and closer details. So one thing you'll notice too is I have these grids on, and while when I have my camera up, I have a level, but down the grid really helps with making sure I'm not angling weird with my camera to keep everything straight. Also, we're seeing some stuff in the corner, but nowadays, especially with the Photoshop AI, I should be able to get rid of that no problem. So I'm gonna leave it in because I wanna make sure my shot is wide enough. Then after those two wides, I start shooting my close shots. If you're trying to get published in magazines and online blogs more often, flat lay photos are going to make a big difference in your wedding portfolio, and I highly recommend doing them at every single wedding. And if you want to see me doing them in action at actual real weddings, make sure to check out this playlist here for my full weddings behind the scenes and learn how I put together my flat lay photos.